And welcome to December. Today, December 11th, so we just have some news to bring to you about some of the latest breaches, and so let's get right into them. First item on the list is Foxconn. Now they confirmed a cyber attack. This is a manufacturing facility located in Mexico. Now, a statement found in ThreatPost's magazine article. It said this, coming from Foxconn: we can confirm that an information system in the U.S. that supports some of our operations in the Americas was the focus of a cybersecurity attack on November 29th. Now, this certainly sounds like a targeted attack on Foxconn. What was the result? It was reported that 1,200 servers were encrypted, 100 gigs of data was downloaded and exfiltrated, and 20 to 30 terabytes of their backups were deleted. Now, this was perhaps no doubt to ensure that they would receive their $34 million that the ransom is held out for. Perhaps using that data as a way to guarantee that if they don't pay, well, then it will be exposed to the public. What does this tell us? The odds of surviving a targeted cyber attack or stopping it might be very slim. Just the latest one that came in this week with FireEye. Now, they are cybersecurity experts protecting businesses, governments. They too suffered a cyber attack. And so this was unlike one that they had seen, with precision, using attacks that they haven't seen. So there's certainly a lesson that we learn here. One, there's no way that any of us will be able to have perfect prevention. But we certainly can do some things to beef up our security. We'll talk about that in a bit. Here's another one: Philabundance Community Kitchen. Now, this is a nonprofit. And what do? They provide meals to those who need it. Well, as a result of a phishing scam, an email, well, they evidently someone clicked on the link. Now, they were in the process of, as it mentions in this article, nearing the completion of its new community kitchen. And so they were to pay a bill. And so what they thought was a legitimate bill, over $900,000, that was to be paid to the construction company, well, didn't quite make it. And it wasn't until the construction company inquired about the payment that they realized that the money was wired to the wrong place. Now, how did this happen? Well, they mentioned that it was a phishing attack. Meaning that once that happened, perhaps they took control of their email, not completely. But what they did is now change things, spoofing email to make it mimic the invoice of the company, so that now the instructions, perhaps the construction company sent the email, but before it got read, they made the adjustments. Now the money was going to be wired to their account because they were expecting the bill. There was trusted communication between the companies. But the thing that they missed was, at some point, they clicked on the wrong link. And they paid the price. $923,533. Now, this was to a nonprofit. So what does that tell us? Really, cyber criminals, bad actors, doesn't really matter who you are, doesn't really matter what your mission is. Now, what was Philabundance's response? Well, notice this. Notice what was posted on their website. And like many other organizations, nonprofit as well, they reported on their website publicly they were the victim of cyber theft. They conducted an internal investigation, collaborating with the FBI, Philadelphia police, so they can identify what happened. But what are they doing? It says after this, it said we've enhanced our IT security systems and financial controls to protect every single dollar we raise. We're being both thoughtful and aggressive in putting these safeguards in place to make sure this never happens again. Well, just as we saw in the other one, if it's a targeted attack, we might be able to lessen the damage, but the reality is there's nothing that will stop them from getting in. Now that would be as though we have our homes and we have our protection, and we think that armed men, we would stop them from coming in. So we put in the controls, we do the best that we can, but we certainly want to learn from Phil Abundance. Are you as a business owner, even if you're a nonprofit organization, are you thinking about the impact to your business, to your association, to your organization? Are you doing what you can now to enhance your security systems, financial controls to protect the valuable assets within your company, your organization, the money that you're raising, to give back to the community, to take care of your families? Be thoughtful and aggressive. That's something that we can learn from this attack. That started with a phishing link, business email compromise. Learn from Phil Abundance. Now the last one is local. This was just sort of a redacted email that was sent to one of our clients. That we've been able to enhance their email security and other things, because previously the provider that they were using really didn't allow any of this to happen, and so they would receive tons of infected email, and our AV would flag them, and we just hope that please just don't click on any of them, because there's so many emails that would be ransomware. And so we started providing them with some security training, helping them to identify phishing emails. And so thankfully that was successful, and they didn't click on them. But management, the owners were able to finally agreed, and we upgraded their email system. And so this is one of the many that have been flagged since we've done this. Now, as you notice, this was, they had an attachment which had the email address and then a .htm. It's not a normal attachment, but notice this. There was some JavaScript within this attachment, which would be like a web page. And so now, as you can see here, it says that it would run some commands. That JavaScript would then try to reach out, maybe to a URL, perhaps on their website, and command and control, and now try to bring in or whatever files. Download these malicious files that would then begin, perhaps it would lead to ransomware. Can't say for sure. However, we did reach out to the sender, to the company, now another service provider in another state. And we don't know if they know each other or not. It hasn't been confirmed. If they've ever done business together. But what was also interesting is that this particular email was sent from another 365 account. We saw the originating IP, which was from Microsoft 365. Now, unfortunately, many individuals, many companies will go buy Office 365 and think it's secure out of the box. And it does raise up the level of security, but there's so much that you need to configure to enhance the security. And so the way that this was set up is very likely because they were using another info at. Now this particular organization that we take care of, is using a shared email. You can't log into it from the web or anything else. Although we do see attempts where individuals, bad actors in other parts of the world, are certainly trying to connect to this info using SMTP, POP, and well, those protocols are blocked on our end, so we don't allow it. But we do see attempts to that. So it's very likely that this email that it came from, which was another info, that they were using perhaps one that was shared, but logging in through insecure protocols. Now that's just an assumption, because once that was done, they were able to get in and send emails, and perhaps maybe it was irregular and they logged in and they didn't have multi-factor authentication on there, and they were able to get in. Either way, their email was not secured, it was taken over, and now emails went out that were infected that came to our client. Thankfully, we caught it. Now, we tried to reach out to the company, a service provider in another state, and all this week we haven't gotten any answers. All phone calls go straight to the answering service. Now, what we feel is that after these compromised emails went out, that maybe they were now held for ransom. Somehow they were exploited. But we don't know. We hope to find out what the end of the story is. But the point, the lesson, learn from Philabundance. Begin strengthening your securities now. So what are the takeaways? We've covered much. The reality, a targeted attack will most likely be successful. Foxconn, FireEye, they couldn't stop it. Perfect prevention, unrealistic. But you can do much to prevent yourself from being among the low-hanging fruit. And so that may require some education. As we did with our client previously, there was some security awareness training. Provide that. Have some phishing email samples to see what their click rate is. Take action. You can never prevent unless you do something. You have to lock the doors. Perhaps you get alarms. We have alarms on our vehicles, on our homes. We have dogs. There's anything that's there to alert us. Education and action. And then, just as other companies, what we learned from Foxconn, what are the critical processes? What are things that we need to back up, that need to take care of? Is there security risk analysis? And many companies are requiring them to follow a framework. HIPAA requires PCI, CTPAT, the accounting industry. What are the risks? And then work at identifying what are critical and taking the necessary action. What's going to be your incident response plan when something does happen? Knowing, starting from the end and working your way back, many times will help you to harden your defenses. And then you will know how to respond in the future when things do happen. What's your business continuity plan? What's going to happen to keep your business up and running, perhaps while your systems are ransomed? If you're in healthcare, does that mean going back to paper? Can you still take care of patients if your systems are down? If you're in a service industry, if you're in the logistics, custom broker, forwarding agent, can you take care of your business if your systems have been compromised, held for ransom? Learn from Philabundance. Start strengthening your security defenses now. Be thoughtful and aggressive, taking into account what your critical risks are and what you need to protect, and then begin mitigating them. What can you start doing now? What can you do months later? What's on the roadmap for a year from now? And if you don't have the education, if you don't have the help, outsource. There's companies like ours that are willing to work with you in your internal IT, and many times it's the experience, it's the tools that through our partnerships we're able to get at lower price rate, but it's really the solution. It's solution, the tools combined with the experience, the cooperation that will allow you to really take care of your business. And so feel free, give us a call, contact us. We look forward to our next time when we learn about the latest breaches that are happening.